and we would sit around in a cube and pretend to be the sports reporters.
Yeah.
And I was Dick Shepp. I was the host. And I always wanted to do it. And then I moved out here and found out that MSU Moorhead, where I was going to school to get a second degree in communications, didn't have radio. So I talked to Larry Scott, and a relationship was made. It's a lot of guys, television or radio, will tell you they got to be lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lucky.
Sign me up. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still feel lucky now? Even
Privileged.
20-some
Yes.
years after? Why?
You put this on television? What am I missing here?
Yeah.
I mean, the day that Doug told me we're going to be on television, I'll never forget that day in July at Ruby Tuesday in Fargo. We had an annual lunch, and he said, we're going to move to television. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
For a year after we tried the one time.
Yeah, we did, I believe. It was
Go
the FM
Pink,
Macro,
yeah.
Go Pink game.
Yep.
Was our first test.
Oh.
And it for those of you watching at home and saw no issues, you didn't see the madness that was happening behind the scenes when our signal dropped right before the show. WDAY came over and brought gear and saved our rear end. All of that happened seamlessly to the viewers, but it was a struggle. It was a real, like, should we do this or not? Can we technically pull this off? And we have ever since. But you've been with it long before and now still through. So it's been, yes, we decided to put you on TV.
That's your problem.
Did you want to do TV in those early days, or was it just strictly voice kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't know if it matters because TV was never an option back then.
True.
You know, I think TV came at really a good time. Mm-hmm. But I think what got me comfortable enough for television was we used to stream our games.
Right.
And I got in front of the camera during halftime because our coaches have always been great enough to come up at halftime and talk live and after the game and bring a player of the game up like a John Webking after his dazzling performance against Presentation.
Yeah.
But I mean, that got me used to being in front of the camera. Yeah. So when we did television, yes, that first night I could wring my suit out with sweat.
Right.
But since then, it's been really, really good. In my opinion, it's been really, really fun.
And where it is now is definitely nowhere near where we started. I think we leaned on the back of Joe Schwer at the beginning, who was our broadcast director back then, and he helped set all this wonderful things up. But in the background, I'd be remiss without mentioning Alex Nelson in this mix because he was a student for us for 3 years, showed up early, stayed late for free. And then when Joe decided to go chase the dream with the Anaheim Ducks, Alex was the next logical fit, and he's fit in perfectly and is now taking it to places we never dreamed of when we started this whole game. You've seen a long time of Dragon football, basketball, and recently we've added Dragon volleyball to your docket. Tell me a little bit about some of those moments, because this podcast is designed to talk about things that are a little bit more than the games. What are some of the moments that stand out to you that you've sat courtside, up in a press box, wherever, and witnessed that really stood out as something special happening?
Not in chronological order, 47-42. Number one, March 2015, the Dragons won the region. Just because of the expectation it was the Augustana Invitational.
Right.
They were loaded. They still might have been the best team in the country, but they got beat on that Sunday night by Northwest Missouri State.
They did.
And all of a sudden, I'm prepping for Northwest Missouri State, and it's a game. Okay, this is winnable. In fact, the Dragons might even be the favorites. And I know games these days are in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. 47-42.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often, unless two teams are shooting horribly. It was just that well of a game, and the stakes were monumental. That's why that'll be my favorite game of all time. I remember back in the Metrodome in 2006. It was Damon Tomeo's first year. This is coming off an 0-11 and a 1-10 year with two different coaches, and now we've got a third different coach in Damon Tomeo. And they got to 6-5 on a missed field goal by Southwest. And the way those kids reacted, they reacted like they won the Super Bowl. And I'll never forget that because the Dragons were in a valley. And that got them out of the valley for a year. They went 4-7 the next year.
Yeah.
And then Steve Lockway shows up, and now it's just been this rise to
and I think
Kansas City, which is December 1st of last year, to watch you and Alex pull out this box and get us on TV from Excelsior Springs, Missouri. And you saying "Liberty, Liberty, Liberty" every 5 seconds because that's where we were staying in Missouri. But I mean, to pull that off was a ridiculously unbelievable fun feat.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was fun. It was stressful, and it was a learning opportunity at the very least. What about some of the individuals? You've got to know a lot of people, from our teams, their teams, officials, a lot of people. What relationships stand out to you in your time as the voice and now face of the Dragons?
5 years in, first time the Dragons did anything on the men's basketball floor was going to the NSIC championship game. That was the first team to win an NSIC tournament game on the road. And they lost the next day in Duluth, or against Duluth, 70-66. And I had a kid by the name of Jared Bledsoe cry on my shoulder. And he was the first Dragon to do so. And it was like, wow, this really means something. This is after they won the greatest game of my tenure at the time. They beat Bemidji State in overtime the previous night. But just the emotion that Jared had that day, and it's like, oh, crap, we got to go home now. Yeah. It's over. Just like that. Yeah. I also remember the Dragon women. I mean, hosting the championship game here in 2005 and losing, and then John Motherwell crying on my shoulder when everyone else is saying, we're going to the NCAAs. Yeah, but this is a chance to put a banner in the gym and win that tournament that the Dragon women still haven't won yet. Yeah. But I remember those players, Allison Swenson back then, how intense she was and how intense she is now. And I just remember those times and how grateful those players are to have an opportunity to get in front of the camera. You're one of them. You know, you probably never expected to get on camera. Mm-mm. And it was, and I know you don't want this to be about you, but I mean, it's just when those players, especially that aren't getting 30 minutes a night, get a little AT, get a little airtime, I think they really appreciate it.
Yeah, and the reason I really wanted to talk to you about this is we just had Appreciated Dragon Day in Dragonland not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I sat down with a list of who do I appreciate most, you were at one of the top of that list for a lot of reasons, but I'll start with the first reason is not a lot of people know this, but my second year I was injured. I wasn't playing much, wasn't getting much playing time, and you and I were in Aberdeen at the mall, and we were sitting there at the tables in the food court, and I said, well, you know, this is one of our last games of the year. I need to get a job. And you go, hey, my friends over at the time, it was KVLY, not Valley News Live and KXJB. They're hiring production assistants. You want me to give them a call? It's like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And you hooked me up with my first job in TV, my first job in production as then a sophomore, eligibility-wise. And then you and Bob invited me on to do halftime news breaks with the team. Bob Schieffer. Doing the halftime news breaks, getting my practice interviewing, talking to athletes and getting to know the kind of stories that we talk about now on the podcast. And it all started, with Steve just saying, hey, I'll help you. And so I can't tell you how much.
Phone call, piece of cake.
I know, but just to stick your neck out and do that for me was important. And now look what we've done since then. You've been a part of it and been patient with me through this whole ride. I've been patient with you. I will admit that. And Alex, I'll throw him and Joe in there.
It is very stressful. It can get stressful. But at the end of the day, there's the goal.
Yeah.
That's what we're all trying to achieve.
Yeah.
That's bottom line.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day.
I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate what you've done for me and for the Dragons and all your dedication to us. And, we're really proud to have you part of the team.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's fun working with you.
You too, man.
It's intense. We're trying to be, the bar's here. And I want to stay there. I want to go here.
Yeah. And I had one last question of, what are what is probably your your proudest moment in broadcasting that you've had in your career here? And I want to ask it, but I also know the answer already is the next one. I think, like you just said, the bar is here and we've raised it to here, and I think I'm more proud to talk about where that next height is. That's my answer. You can disagree if you'd like, if you've got a proud moment you'd like to share, because we're all interested.
Well, honestly, I don't think I was prouder than when Dr. Blackhurst gave me a note that said, Steve, we're proud to have you as our I can't think of anyone else we'd rather have as the Dragons broadcaster. Doug gave me one of those notes. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But to think, and I said this to Alexis, I say this to Jared and Don, I use the word privileged. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about this on the way here today. Besides Texas, NDSU to an extent, Notre Dame, what other school has their own TV station?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just
pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I think I am very proud of that student thing, in-house thing. A lot of people outsource, have a third party do it for them. We do it ourselves with good old Dragon power.
Yeah.
And it's a point of pride, and we're glad to continue delivering a great product and great games. Our coaches are doing a great job putting a good product on the floor, and we'll deliver it until they tell us we can't anymore.
A month ago, Alex was in Aruba, and we had Brent Keel, a student, directing 4 games, back-to-back Friday, and it was pretty darn near flawless.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
He's going to do it tomorrow night.
Yeah.
How cool is that? I know you're up there too,
yeah.
but he probably knows more than you. But how cool is that?
Oh, yeah.
It's
cool to talk to them about my understanding, and then I hear them talk like, it's like walking into the football coach's room when they're doing scout. I have no idea what they're saying. I thought I'm a football fan until I sit in that room and feel dumb. Alex and Brent and the students that are learning under those two have taken it to a level that I don't even understand, and it's actually fun for me to step back into, as you mentioned last time, and then again tomorrow, just because it's my roots. It's where I started, live sports TV and sitting in the truck and being, I mean, it's as close to a team sport as I think you can get without a ball in play or a clock going. Well, there's a clock going for how long we got to wrap, but it's a lot of fun to be a part of, and I just want to say thank you, and we appreciate your time with us holistically.
You're welcome. Hope there's many more years to come. This is really good stuff. Really good stuff.